So one day I was eating lunch with a friend in 2019, and I was chewing. Obviously, I'm eating lunch, I'm chewing, and I felt an electric shock for a millisecond that went up to the middle of my face. Boom. And I was like, what was that? That's crazy. And I just had a tooth extracted a few months before. So I was convinced that was the reason for it. It happened a few other times, but I didn't think much of it. I mentioned it to my dentist. They took x-rays, but it didn't show anything. So then about 6 months later, I started getting these shocks when I shaved under my left side of my nose. It was only the left side of my face, by the way. It started hurting, but it would come and go. Maybe it would happen like every month, every 2 months. But it got progressively worse, and it got to the point where I experienced increased shocks when I was eating, shaving, or really even talking. So I had to adjust the way I did everything to avoid being shocked, essentially, right? So the game of Operation, when you have to get a plastic body part with a pair of metal tweezers, but if you touch the sides, you get it shocked. It was kind of like me, kind of how I was living, and how I still kind of live right now too. So long story short, it wasn't easy to diagnose, and after a lot of effort, I found a doctor that focused on this, and he diagnosed me with something that's called trigeminal neuralgia. And I have a mild case of it, by the way. Trigeminal neuralgia is a chronic pain condition that affects the trigeminal nerve, which is right at the base of the brain. And it carries sensation to your face, to your brain, to your face. The way it's characterized, and it's characterized by severe, sudden, shock-like, or stabbing pain in the face, usually on one side, like me on my left side, and it's often triggered by activities like chewing, speaking, or touching the face. And he gave me a few tips to deal with it, and it actually worked at that time. But then in January of 2023, the pain got so bad, I felt like I had a mouth full of cavities and infected teeth. So, anytime I talked or eat or the pain was excruciating. It was insane. I won't get into the gory details, but it was really bad because the pain had moved from my mouth to my jaw and right to my ear and everything. It was bad. So I found a specialist then at Columbia Medical Center who gave me an MRI and then advised me that I had signs of something called demyelination disease. The last thing I ever expected, right? And that is essentially MS, right? And at that point, I didn't know what to do. And you recommended a phenomenal neurologist who I still go and see. In fact, I saw him last week, and he diagnosed me in March of 2023 with relapsing remitting MS, and trigeminal neuralgia was my main symptom.